What we have today is state captured. The constitution has been suspended. The democracy has been suspended. What we have today is not democracy. This is what Dr. Katch said in this particular interview. He hit the nail on the head and tells Tinubu the bitter truth. Like this Tinubu government, like they have destroyed anything called rule of law in Nigeria. I remember before they sworn Tinubu in 2023, Dati Baba Ahmed said, if Nigeria mistakenly sworn Tinubu in as the president of Nigeria, that will be the end of democracy. And that is exactly what we are seeing today. When you look around and see the people that are in this Tinubu government, people that are working with Tinubu in this his government, you know that they have something in common. What Tinubu condemned during Goodluck Jonathan regime is exactly what Tinubu is doing today. He's even doing it times 10, my people. Tinubu is the only president that did not get 25% of vote in FCT. Like, because of Tinubu, these people changed the Nigeria constitution. And look at where we are today. Like Tinubu and co do not care about anything called rule of law. What they want to do, they will do it and nothing will happen. Anyway, make I not talk too much. Let me allow you guys to take a listen and hear everything they discuss in this powerful and insightful interview where Dr. Katch exposed it all, like things that are happening in this Tinubu government. Take a listen.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a good thing to be with you and your audience.
All right, thank you very much. Mogaji Adijumo, let's start with you. What do you make of this impression of His Eminence Sanusi Lamido Sanusi II? Everything that he has just talked about, that what we have are lousy leaders. The conversations that we've had in the 60s, we are still having it in 2025.
Well, let's start with Dr. Katch Onanuju. I'm so happy you have him here. He's one of the very best that we can look forward to in terms of making this conversation about the Nigerian question. So I'm so happy we have it. Well, how do we address the emir? His highness or his eminence or whatever it is? That is still part of the problem we have. Is Sanusi is he making a statement that is supposed to be a novel, new, perhaps even noble? No, I would say that all of us should know that our major problem is about leadership. It's again a reflection of what they have made us to be, starting with those who have been promoting ethnicity and those who have been promoting religion over and above humanity in this country. Let us look at it critically. What do you expect if the quality of engagement is bad? What do you expect in a learning environment if the facilitator or the teacher is bad? We all went to school. We all have some, degrees of education. I'm not talking about the degree you collect in the university. I'm talking about the various forms of education we have all had. And we've been able to look at our teachers, our lecturers as they come, and to be able to say, oh, this man impacted on me. I have some beautiful people I can refer to. I was taught by Professor Gigi Dara. I was taught by Professor Bayo Williams. I was taught by Professor Wale Soyinka and a few others. And I would say that, those were fantastic. But then the product is always going to be about the impactation. So you take that to the national level and talk about leaders too. And tell me, in this country, who are those leaders that are fulfilled in all respects the very attributes of the very best in terms of those who have impacted, like you want to be sure and you are happy and you want to say to everyone that I was taught by so. So who is that leader? Maybe you are going to mention a sectional leader. Maybe you are even going to mention a religious leader. And is that what it is? Are we now going to be so full of ignorance, or perhaps so full of deceit, to lie to ourselves to say that we have had such leaders? So yes, he's saying the same thing. But again, Sule Lamido Sanusi, or Sanusi as you
Sanusi, His Eminence Sanusi Lamido Sanusi.
Lamido Sanusi is part of the same problem. He's part of the same class of people that he mentioned that are bad. If he didn't say that, I would say that to him. I will remember many things about him, but again, we shouldn't forget he was the one who shouted at one time that 48 billion naira was missing from the coffers of the NNPC. And the truth of the matter is that Nigeria never makes anything more than 28 billion in a year. It has never happened that we have made even 30 billion. The whole country. Go and check where Dr. Ronaldo is here. So if we don't even make 30 billion, how can 48 billion be missing? And he went to town. Is it telling me he does not know? Then, of course, everything went into the area of validation. And then when he realized it wasn't going to hold, he scaled it down to 16 billion. Then he scaled it down to 8 billion. And then they had to call some international arbitrators as well as...
Mogaji Adejumo, are you accusing His Eminence Sanusi Lamido Sanusi of being an hypocrite in this matter?
I'm accusing him of everything that is bad in Nigeria's leadership because he's part of it. Oh. He was part of it. Was he not? He was part of it. So, and I'm telling you, and I'm giving you a particular instance in which, at the end of the day, what the international arbitrators, what they found was less than 1 billion naira missing from the NNPC, not even dollars. So he is part of it because of the fact that he should play the ethnic card at a certain time. And what is wrong with our leadership is ethnicity and religion, as well as personal aggrandizement. People that have been ruling us have never had the interest of the country at heart. It's either they are only going to pander to where they come from, the part of the country that they come from, or the religion that they belong to, or any other thing except that which should help Nigeria to grow.
Mogaji, look, all right, Mogaji.
Sorry.
Mogaji, if you say, Mogaji, can you hear me? Sorry to cut in.
I can hear you.
If you say we do not have such funds in Nigeria, I'm talking about Sanusi Lamido's claims before now. How about the claim by the EFCC, who carried out an investigation and came out to say that 210 trillion naira was missing from the coffers of NNPCL? If you are saying we don't even have up to that, how do we juxtapose that 210 trillion naira according to EFCC unaccounted for by the NNPCL?
I'm glad you brought this up. Over what period of time are they saying that they've not been able to remit this? For about well, let me say from like 2013 till 2016, NNPC was not even remitting anything to the Nigerian coffers. All that we were spending at that time were accruals from mostly the ports and other charges that Nigeria was using. So it is not about the fact that NNPC has not been doing it, but he accused NNPC at a particular time, and the Among Us amount of money was in dollars. Now you are talking about 210 trillion naira. In today's money, break it down to dollars. Let's see how much it is. Because I want to see, the problem we have is that we don't look at things in context. If we are going to look at everything in context, then let us look at what it is that Nigeria is capable of doing. What do we have in terms of resources? The natural resources, the human resources, the resources that they occur, and how have we been able to manage them over years? Apart from the DR Congo, no other country in Africa has the kind of resources that we have. And even in Asia, they don't have. How come they are better in those places in Asia than we are here in Nigeria? It's a systemic thing that has been occurring right from 1960, and it has not stopped. And we know it. We may want to run away from the fact that, well, maybe it is not about name calling, but let us look at what is the motivation. From 1960, what has been motivating us? And therein you will find all the answers. It's about ethnicity, it's about religion. If again it's not about, oh, where are you coming from? Then it's going to be which religion do you belong to? And those parameters to choose who a leader should be. And that is the question. We have in Nigeria today certain people that we know can help this country to grow. We know the antecedents. We know somebody who, in all of this, okay, mention somebody who is in Nassau Rock today, or who is in National Assembly today, and has not been even checked by the same EFCC you mentioned. And the EFCC even came out at one time, they mentioned certain governors that they said, well, directly they were taking money from the coffers, and all of them are in government today. Is either their president or their minister or their head of the party. So where is the accountability? That is the problem. Where is the accountability in this country? Those that we should hold accountable are those that we keep on re-electing on the basis of either they are, well, from my part of the country, or they belong to my religion, or perhaps even the fact that I want to be part of the stealing. And that is, again, what we need to examine. Even if we say the leadership is bad, what about the followership? Are they helping? In any way? Are they not aiding and abetting these same leaders to run Nigeria down? And look at the way Nigeria is. I was reading a report yesterday that said that over 44,000 Nigerians have sought for asylum. 44,000 in one country.
All right, Mogaji, we'll come back to that, Mogaji, because of time. Thank you for your submission. And again, Mogaji, rest assured that what we have in Nigeria, the problem is not that we are not making enough revenue. Nigeria, some will say Nigeria is actually making far more than is being reported. So it's not as a result of scarcity of funds. We are dealing with bad leadership and corruption, and not really because we are not making that much money. We'll come back to you, Mogaji, but let's quickly go to Dr. Ononju. Dr. Ononju, are you still with us?
Yes, I am with you very much here.
All right, Doctor. It's been a roller coaster ride for Nigeria since independence, talking about leadership, the quality of leadership we've had in Nigeria. In your own opinion, Dr. Ononju, what do you think the problem is? Nigeria is a nation of over 230 million people. We have great people in Nigeria. We have intelligent people, smart people. We have men of integrity in Nigeria. But how come we've not really had the quality of leaders that would have transformed Nigeria? Because we have no excuse. If you compare, Dr. Ononju, if you compare Nigeria with a nation like Singapore, we started almost the same time. If you compare Nigeria to Singapore, it's like comparing heaven and hell. Where exactly do you think we missed it as a nation?
Well, our problem is we have had, as Mogaji said, the recruitment of very bad people as leaders. He's right, Mogaji is right. Sanusi was recruited in a band of some bad people who simply wanted power. And so he spun his stories against President Goodluck in a recruitment to get rid of Goodluck. All they wanted was power, and they were successful. And when they got rid of Goodluck, power was shared, and he was allocated the emirship of Khan. Yes, those who grabbed the power then suspended the constitution, suspended the democracy, and what we now have today is state capture. There is no way Emir Sanusi Lamido Sanusi can extricate himself from the band of leaders who conspired then, together with the APC people, to grab the states. And after grabbing the states, we now went into this situation of state capture. He was part and parcel of that particular gang, and during the sharing of the loot of states, he was given the emirship of Kano. It fell out of his hand briefly, and it has been now restored. So he is part of those band of leaders. And if you look at it then, that was where we went wrong. At that time, we had the best performing economy in Africa. We had growth where we are seen as one of the fastest growing economies on earth. And when he joined those conspirators and there was that state capture, we then remove Goodluck that everybody is today trying to beg to come back. It was same Goodluck who did this same removal of subsidy you're talking about. They all gathered, as Governor Fayemi told us, they lied because they were playing politics. That Goodluck was actually right in his attempt to remove subsidy. So why is it if you see somebody doing something good, but just because you have a plot for state capture, you will reject it, even though you know that would be good for the country. Now, Lamido Sanusi said, removal of that subsidy have saved us from bankruptcy. But what we have right now is a state captured. How do we get out of this present state of capture? This is where we are. Because if you look at it right now, the constitution has been suspended. The democracy has been suspended. What we have today is not a democracy, and you know that. So how do we get out of this? And because of the way...
Dr. Katch, how do you mean the constitution has been suspended? How? This is the Federal Republic of Nigeria, isn't it?
Well, to you and me, the constitution is supposed to allow a democracy. But the president actively promotes people like Nyesom Wike to undermine the democracy. Does that tell you that that's a constitutional rule? No, it's not. If the government does everything actively to undermine the democracy, that tells you that the democracy is suspended, and for you to suspend
Nyesom Wike is just, Doctor, Nyesom Wike is just another political player, just like any other person from history.
True.
And you are saying the president has promoted him to undermine democracy. How so?
Yes, exactly. Now you know that there is nothing Mr. Wike does that is not promoted by the government. We're talking about restoring democracy today in Rivers State. You know very well, only a democracy can conduct elections to local governments. Only a democracy can appoint permanent secretaries and all those things. But you can see how the president engineered that removal of the governor and then the subsequent robbing of Rivers State claim. That's a suspension of democracy. You remove the democratically elected governor and then you allow a military man to go there and balkanize the state. That tells you the democracy is suspended. So if it is suspended in Rivers State, in Borno State, it is suspended in Nigeria. And that's how the law sees it. So it's not the very best. Nyesom Wike doesn't do what he does on his own accord. No, he does it by the active support of the president. And if the president can be actively in support of such protocols and machinations that undermine the democracy, where is the leadership?
Dr. Katch,
Is the leadership?
Away from Mr. Dr. Noniju, sorry to cause in, away from the current presidency, you know, we are not just talking about this administration. We are talking about leadership in the past couple of years. Let's even take it from 1999, 26 years now. We've had, you know, unbroken democracy.
We have done well. 26 years, we were doing very well. We started the transition with Obasanjo. He was going very well. He tried. That was the most difficult part of it. The transition from the military dictatorship on to stabilizing as a democracy. We kept on. From him to Yar'Adua, from him to Goodluck, we were growing. And then this plot. And these people who now came in suspended the constitution. When did they do that? When they took down Justice Onogen. Once they took down Justice Onogen, everything went to the wires. You can see we did election in 2023. What did they tell you? They stopped the collection of figures of the election, and when we asked why, they said a glitch. Tinubu told them, if you want to repeat June 12th by removing a presidency won by a Southerner, if you want peace, find another Southerner and give it to. And they found him, but they didn't give it to him. They sold it to him. He said it to us. He bought it with his money. And it's because he bought it with money, those who sold it to him came back to him. And he said, what are you asking for? I don't owe you. I paid you off. And that's why you've seen the current internal implosion in the APC, because of they are arguing on how to share the loot. And in arguing about how to share that loot, we are where we are today. So if there was proper democracy, you wouldn't have people doing all these things. You will go to election. The same people, quote me, who sold that presidency to President Tinubu, as he said, as he confessed, he bought it with his own money, are the same people who are now fighting him, using the ADC to stage that they are not happy. What are they not happy? They are not happy that President Tinubu has continued in the same design of nepotism that they tolerated under President Buhari. Now, I give
Dr.
you
Katch, permit me to hold your thoughts there. Sorry, sir.
Let me just finish, please.
I understand we must go on a break.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say to Nigerians is, if you see a band of people come to your place to steal, don't worry, be calm. It is when they start fighting over the sharing of that loot that we now know who is who. That's what I'm saying. What they're doing right now is fighting over the sharing
All
of
right.
the loot,
All right.
which they got through state capture.
All right, point made, but these are serious, revelations, and I want to say allegations as well, because you're talking about somebody buying and somebody selling, but INEC and the system will say he campaigned for votes, he presented himself to be voted for, INEC conducted an election, and he was sworn in. But is it that we have people of no conscience as leaders, or the system that we operate in Nigeria will always choke every good intention out of every leader? Please look into that.
Well, let's start. I will just want to make a little reference to what my brother Katch said about the fact that democracy has been suspended. He has not mentioned the judiciary, so let me quickly say that. And let me say that he's right about Obasanjo. He's the only one who is even talking. And he has mentioned it, that even the corruption in the judiciary is so among us that it has left Nigeria wanting in the area of accountability. But then from a retired appeal court justice, Justice Adepope Okoje, came a very serious charge. And she said, no serious foreign investor will invest in a country with a bad judiciary system or judicial system like the one we have in this Tinubu's administration. Now, that is an indictment on the whole democratic setup. Look at the National Assembly. It's just a rubber stamp. Nothing else is going on. There was an attempt by the speaker to say something about the amount of money we have borrowed, and quickly he ate his words. So where are the checks and balances? None. So there's a state capture, just like Dr. Katch has said. It's a total state capture. Now back to what we're trying to say about what is wrong with us and what is wrong with Nigeria.
Yeah, is it the leaders that are bereft of good intention, or there is a system that chokes them?
No, hold on, please. There was a time I was at your colloquium, and there was a professor. He was asked, and it was actually for the APC and Tinubu's administration, and he was asked, oh, can we ever have a free and fair election? And he quickly mentioned June 12th. And I was looking at him and I asked him, why didn't you mention the election in Edo, the recent one in Edo? Why didn't you mention the one in Ondo? Why didn't you even mention the one in Osun, the one before this one? Even with all that we know regarding this last 10 years, I would say that Nigeria has regressed beyond recognition in the last 10 years. We got it right up to the time that Jonathan was there. We got it right. We could have built on it. Dr. Katch was right. Nigeria had the fastest, fourth fastest growth in the whole world, and number one economy in Nigeria. Today, we are not even number 5 in economy in Africa. So what are we saying that is not so obvious about the last 10 years that have made Nigeria to look like something out of a bad horror book or horror movie? We have the kind of elections that even democracy anywhere in the world has never seen. We've had the kind of throwing up of candidates. There's even a candidate of a particular state. When he was going for election, everybody was like, oh, he couldn't even speak, he couldn't even communicate. Yeah, and the language of government, of course, is English. But then even if you didn't know so much about it, what about figures? What about even articulating your view so that people can know? He said he was going to bring in security, and people still clapped. He's governor today, and what do you expect in a state like that? There's confusion, there's chaos.
Mogaji.
You cannot in any way. Yes, please.
Yeah, all right. While it is easy, Bogaji, why it's easy for us to talk about our leaders and failure of leadership in Nigeria, sometimes I try to look at it from another angle, from another point of view. And here's what I mean. Mogaji, just before I go to Dr. Nonju, don't you think that we as Nigerians, we are also responsible for the poor quality of leadership we are getting? Don't you think we need an attitudinal change? And here's what I mean, Mogaji. Let me land, Mogaji. Here's what I mean. For instance, look at what is going on in Nigeria. During the program this morning, I gave an analogy why injustice persists simply because people keep quiet. We have people cross-carpeting from one party to another. We mentioned the case of Nyesom Wike, who is in the PDP, allegedly in the PDP, but working for the APC. and no one is saying anything. Then again, Mogaji, right here in southwest Nigeria, okay, I've talked to a lot of people who had interviews here. I've spoken with, some elder statesmen right here, and here's the impression I'm having. And they are telling me that, fine, each time I tell them, are we not supposed to be practicing democracy? Why are we having governors from the PDP who are openly supporting the president, who is a member of the APC? And here's what I get from here. They say because he's from their tribe. That's what people are telling me openly here. And I'm quite concerned. Should we keep voting along tribal lines, having tribal sentiment? That's what they tell me here. They tell me that I shouldn't say that our democracy is not ready, that why they are supporting Tinubu is because he's from their tribe, that we should not wish away tribal sentiments when we talk about leadership. Do you think we can really move forward in Nigeria if we keep voting along tribal and ethnic and religious sentiments?
Well, you should be leading us to these things that you are saying, but it's good that you are saying it too. But you see, some of us have evolved, and we will continue to evolve. I know where I'm coming from. I've never worked for any government. I have never sought for any political post or position anywhere. So I have always been the person that nobody can say has eaten or has interest or is waiting for a political figure to be there, or all my aspirations are about a political party and what becomes of that party. I have never been that person. I supported Jonathan. It's not from my place. I supported Jonathan based on what I could see, and I knew Buhari way back when I was in university. That was when, I think it was my last year that he took over or something, and I could see the degradation, and I could see what his 20 months was for. And well, I couldn't have supported even President Tinubu because of the fact that I'm old enough to know, and every other thing that I should know should direct me into making a judgment that I will be free to say to God and to man that I am not involved in any other consideration other than the very best. But when people are beginning to look for liberty, and at the same time, they are even thinking of their own personal self, and then they are giving in into tribal and religious sentiment, then they don't deserve anything other than whatever they get from that exercise, which is not informed by reasoning. And that is the truth. I was called all manners of names, but do I care? My conscience is clear. And have I not been proven right? So that is the point to take home for anyone. Unfortunately, the rulership or leadership have made the people to be poor. They have weaponized what is called poverty to use it against the people. And just like it happened with Stalin and the idea of the hen, I have even heard that one of our leaders described someone that, oh, Tokumbo, Adjeni Tokumbo, pluck his plumes, but give him a few corns, and he will eat, and then he will come back. And that is the same system they use when they think that, oh, you are suffering a little, they will give you a little palliative. What is palliative? A palliative is not a cure. A palliative, if you go and check the dictionary meaning, is a very temporary thing, perhaps almost non-effective, just to help you with a little bit of relief, and the main thing still remains. So for how long is a country going to live on palliatives? But when we say let us plan a country based on the rule of law, based on accountability, based on pristine example of what a leader should be, like Papa Obafemi Awolowo, the people that we want to even save are so well stuck on Stockholm syndrome. They have now begun to love their oppressors to the extent that even those who tell them the truth, they will castigate, even in my own Yoruba land, only because they want to embrace ethnicity, they want to embrace religion, they want to embrace all manners of extraneous factors that will never help their children, that will never help them, that will never help their children's children. And that is the point. At what stage will people wake up and say, we've had enough of these bad leaders, let us go for the right ones? At what stage? And that is the question. And that is what people like Katch and myself have started to do for a long time. We know ourselves and we know what we are trying to do. And that is why we gathered together in Abuja a few months ago to chart a new way forward and say, let us have a new constitution that will take away this bad system, this bad structure, and give us what is called accountability. But
all right,
what
Mogaji.
support are we getting from the people? That is the question.
All right, Mogaji. I will come back to you. Dr. Nonju, let me come to you now, Dr. Nonju. Just similar question that I asked Mogaji right now. What role do you think Nigerians have played, okay, in this, saga? We having bad leaders. Like I said, we can't just accuse leaders solely. We are also responsible for producing bad leaders. So in your own opinion, Dr. Nonju, what role do you think Nigerians have played for us to have had sustained bad leadership in the country?
Yeah, you're right. Talking about our docility being reasons why the criminals thrive. But don't also forget there are active instrumentations in society by criminal elements in politics who hire some thugs who will now be banding about rhetorics about religion, rhetorics about tribe. These rhetorics about tribe are normally used when a man finds it difficult to compete. One. Two, you talked about the governors who told you they will support Tinubu. They are supporting Tinubu for one reason. Tinubu has captured the INEC, the electoral body. And when they saw what happened in Edo State, all of them, most of the people you're talking about now are first-time governors. They got jittery that should they remain independent and autonomous as they were elected to be in the face of a Tinubu who wants every governor to be with him so that they can use those governors not to win an election, but to write elections. And he will then be able to get the judiciary to say...
Dr. Katch,
right,
these are big allegations, isn't it? Are you aware? There should be fact to that.
I own my words. I am today a statesman, and I owe nothing to the country than to be very honestful, than to be truthful. I am not going to go back. I've done what I should do. I've educated my children, and that's why I seek an honest platform of competition so that they can compete and win. So I don't want anybody to give me a handout. No, I want a better country and I want a good society. I don't know how to start lying or start calling the other things, whatever it is. We need to speak truth. It's the only way that we can save our country. One, you can see what happens.
Murtala Mohammed, at some point, then you have, many of them, Ibrahim Babangida, General Abacha, then Abdulsalam Abubakar, then Olusegun Obasanjo as president again, and all of those guys. Now, gentlemen, I understand you are there. I will just take this, because we're on this home stretch right now. Dr. Katch, what can the people do right now? And when we mean the people, not just at the federal level, at the state levels, people making choices, politicians are getting ready. I said it, Anambra people are getting ready.
Responsibility, because I tell myself, no, the leader is just one person, Mr. President, that decides to do the wrong thing. If the people do not keep quiet, he cannot succeed. You say Tinubu is powerful. Yes, he's powerful because the
every Nigerian president is powerful.
Because the people made him so. But we have a constitution. We should supersede the wishes of any president. We have a system.
But there are people who interpret that constitution.
Yeah,
they are still part of the leadership.
That's the point. That's the system. Yeah. So we should have the National Assembly too. So if institutions are not doing their jobs, that's the point. So we are having strong individuals and weak institutions. That's the problem. And we are all responsible for that. Because each time I think about leadership, I ask, that's the problem. And we are all responsible for that. Because each time I think about leadership, I ask myself, as far as good leadership and good governance is concerned.
Welcome to Chamber Seniors TV. Hey, call on Ventus.